What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Choco-nation, and you already know what's happening, baby. We back at it again, baby. Serial killer burned his ninth victim alive. Shout out to Dr. Insanity for this video. Let's get to it, baby. Get your snack, get your food, man. I got food. I'm hungry, bro. I got some. Hawaiian bread, chicken, and refried beans, baby. Do your homework on that good stuff.
3:30 a.m. in a neighborhood in the city of Akron.
Hold up. Hold up. I was like, I'm not hearing this when I'm supposed to hear that. Alright, let's do it right.
It's 3:30 a.m. in a neighborhood in the city of Akron. CCTV records a man in a jumpsuit walking up to a house. Seconds later, what could only be a nightmare begins.
Akron 911.
Well, I got a fire going on Fourth Avenue. It's fully engulfed. I think there's people in the house. It's blazing, man. It's blazing. It's up here quick. I can feel the heat. The lights are going out. It's burning quick, man. If somebody's in there, they're dead, man.
As the flames engulf the house, the mysterious man disappears into the night, leaving a trail of blood behind him.
Oh, my God. Hurry, please. Oh, Jesus. The whole house is on fire.
As authorities were called to investigate, they had no idea what they were stepping into. This would only be the beginning of a series of fatal fires.
This is what I love about Dr. Insanity. If y'all haven't checked his channel out, check it out. My man be breaking it down, putting the evidence, and be putting the work in there. Man, love it. Shout out.
Set by a vicious, cold-blooded killer, and detectives would soon find themselves racing against the clock as a serial arsonist hunts for his next victims. The night of April 17th, 2016 was uneventful for 66-year-old Lindell Lewis. He had just gone through a hip replacement surgery and was resting at his home on 719 Fulton.
A hip replacement surgery. That boy could not walk. He had to be bound to a wheelchair or something. So whoever did this knew. I'm assuming it was for him, like, but knew what was going on. You know what I'm saying? So serial killer might be closer than we think.
Street, being looked after by Gloria Jean Hart, his girlfriend at the time. However, this night would be different. This night would plunge the once peaceful city of Akron into sheer terror. In the early hours of April 18th, close to 3:33 a.m., CCTV footage captured a man walking in the direction that led directly to Lindell's house. And moments later, tragedy would strike the house of Lindell Lewis.
That's a black guy. That's a black guy. And now what y'all gonna say? What is wrong with you, Choco? Bro, check this out. The way he did that little two-step. I know you're a black guy, bro.
Moments later, tragedy would strike the house of Lindell Lewis. Because he was in a...
He running like he played basketball. I'm not trying to be mean, bro. Most of the basketball players are black. So peep the game, baby. Peep the game.
hurry to escape. This first attempt at setting the house on fire had failed, and the flames died out, prompting the arsonist to make a return for a second time to make sure he finished the job. At around 3:40 a.m. and approximately 3 minutes after this second round of dousing the house with what appears to be gasoline, a raging fire would swallow up the entirety of Lindell's house.
Y'all seen them black hands?
gasoline, a raging fire would swallow up the entirety of Lindell's house. This was an early Monday.
Bro.
Raging fire would swallow up the entirety of Lindell's house. This was an early Monday morning, and most people in Lane Worcester neighborhood were asleep preparing for work. No one would have been awake to see who this masked arsonist was. More importantly, whoever this was well aware of Lindell's hip surgery, as it had made him wheelchair-ridden and unable to move. This meant that the fire was started knowing that he would never be able to escape. And soon enough, 911 calls would begin pouring in as the fire raged on.
Yo, I might be wrong, alright? If there's a white serial killer, right, Caucasian, then the chances are that was just, like, if all his other 8 victims are African American or black, it just could be somebody who just don't like black people, and they into that KKK type of stuff, and they're like, we're gonna burn these people and whatever. So he got some sort of resentment. If it's a black person, I got a feeling that it has to do with his girlfriend, bro. Or this dude took his girlfriend back in high school, something like that. Like there's some vendetta going on there, bro, from before. And it might sound racist, bro, but I'm just saying, bro.
Akron 911.
It's my opinion. My opinion is not, like, it shouldn't be taken to heart, because you got your opinion as well. Just let me know in the comments below, baby.
This is 725, it's next door. I can feel a heat, the lights are going out. It's burning quick, man. If somebody's in there, they're dead, man. You can get up here real quick.
Hey, they're on their way right now.
Presumably, Lindell and his girlfriend were sleeping in their bedroom on the upper floor of the house when the fire initially began.
Did they
Since
both
the
die?
masked arsonist ensured that the fire spread from the ground floor, this meant that by the time they woke up because of the heat and crackling of the fire, they had no escape, especially because Lindell was unable to move by himself. Gloria most likely helped Lindell move from the bed, and the couple retreated to their bedroom in an attempt to get as far away as possible. But all this did was delay the inevitable. As firefighters and EMS arrived at the scene, the elderly couple was heard screaming for help from inside their bathroom. Even with desperate attempts to save them, it was far too late. This gasoline fire was far too violent, and the smoke was far too thick. Gloria Jean Hart and Lindell Lewis were pronounced dead by the time they were discovered. A tragedy like this was unheard of in Akron, not only because of the fact that there was now an arsonist on the loose, but because no one knew who his next victim would be. Because as it turns out, Lindell and Gloria were only 2 of his 9 victims to come. The hunt for this masked murderer was on.
Oh, hold up. Hold up.
Because as it turns out, Lindell and Gloria were only 2 of his 9 victims.
It's 9 victims. I'm thinking this is the 9 ones, right? Like the 8 and 9 victim from this person. So he gonna be burning all these people? So it's not a colored thing. It's definitely not a colored thing. It's something else going on here.
To come.
So it started with them.
The hunt for this masked murderer was on, and soon enough, detectives had a lead. During the night this fire occurred, the suspect had fled in this direction immediately after his second attempt. This meant that whoever this was lived in this general vicinity, and considering this, the very first suspect would be Stanley Ford. Stanley was a peculiar man. He often claimed to be a guardian sent by God and would spend his days sleeping so he could stay awake at night to watch over the neighborhood. Additionally, Stanley was also Lindell's neighbor, and the two had spent many years living next to each other. This is why officers were certain that Stanley would react with sorrow when informed of Lindell's death. But when a call was made telling him of the tragedy, something was off.
I was calling to follow up with you about the fire across the street. You know, because of the tumultuous history that you and the people in Lindell's house had, everybody is thinking you, right?
No, Tanisha, listen to me once again. I do not mess with these people up here. Them guys try to get me to come on and engage with them. Them guys was nasty. They had prostitutes in and out all night. They was dealing with homosexuality. Them people was just bad people. I didn't do nothing to them people. Them people were just mean. I mean, listen here. When they moved up here, Tanisha, they stole everything that wasn't voted down.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mr. Ford, this is...
I'm sorry, I just say, when they move up here, they stole everything that wasn't bolted down. Bro, these are bad people, I'm telling you. I don't mess with them. I don't fuss with them, bro. Forget that. I don't like them. Leave me alone. Yeah, Mr. Ford is crazy.
My concern
What's your concern?
is that how to make people believe that it wasn't you.
Tanisha, you either take my word or you don't. That's all I can tell you.
Well, we do have another option.
What's that?
The polygraph.
Suspiciously, not only did Stanley refuse a polygraph test, but officers believed his reaction to be endorsing Lindell's death rather than mourning it. This was likely because of a low in the two's relationship that stemmed from their arguments about property boundaries and maintenance. However, in all fairness, this case was not limited to Lindell alone. In fact, Stanley was infamous for often disputing with neighbors when it came to property boundaries. All things considered, Stanley was only seen as a weird and obnoxious neighbor rather than someone who would burn a house.
Okay. I paused right on time, bro. Look at this. You see that nose? It's a white person's nose, bro. And he has a little mustache, bro. That's a white person's nose. For sure.
Down. For now, at least, he was not the most prominent suspect, as detectives began to believe that the one responsible for this fire may have been someone inside Lindell's house. The night the fire occurred, Lindell and Gloria were not the only ones in the house. Thomas...
Whoa, y'all gotta start with that. Y'all making it seem like it was just them two. Now you're gonna say there's somebody else.
Hugley and Garrett were two of Lindell's friends who were going through tough times due to financial constraints. Lindell was kind enough to offer the two of them a place in the basement of his home. Fortunately, Thomas escaped before the fire could swallow up the basement, but Garrett, on the other hand, just so happened to be somewhere else that night. By April 22nd, 2016, Akron detectives would call in Garrett for an interview to find out what really happened.
First, let me say that I hate having to put you out there like that. Like all
That was terrible. I like what the heck? Heck.
you cuss, that's my first language. But I was worried because they said you lived down there, and I hadn't seen or heard from you, so I waited.
Yeah, I was there earlier that day because I was over my auntie's house doing a job for her.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's her name?
Shit.
My boy making up names, bro. He making up names. Cat.
Michael Williams. I forgot her real last name. She works across the street right there.
Okay. Now, I ain't trying to, stir your brain, because the main reason I want to find you, make sure, one, that you safe and you okay, and to find out.
I didn't know nothing about it until my sister then called me.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Hughley called me.
And what would they say?
They said the house burned down. But they didn't tell me nothing about nobody got hurt in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then my best friend.
What you talking about, Linda?
For detectives, it is definitely odd that Garrett is taking so long to remember the finer details, but this is nothing conclusive as of now. However, they are confident that by poking deeper, they might be able to find some clues.
Have you heard about anybody who got a beef with him?
No. Not that I know of.
Now, what was that thought you just had?
That was that I know of. Nobody I know of right off the
That
hand.
don't seem like the truth. It seems like you're choking on the truth right now.
She said it don't sound like the truth. It's like you choking on the truth right now. Oh, they're on his butt. They on his butt. My boy's not gonna get out that easy, bro. That Canada Dry he's drinking, that's a setup.
Oh, I don't know, man. Because I didn't know the people he knew.
It's obvious you just had a thought. Do you just not want to speak because all of us in here, or
No,
you not want to speak because you're at the police station?
I don't know.
You definitely had a thought right there.
All I know is they purport to have a restraining order on that guy across the street. Stand something, that's all I knew.
Stanley's name has once again crept into the conversation. In fact, rumors about Lindell and Stanley's conflicts had already spread like wildfire, and he was on his way to becoming suspect number one.
That mess up party, bro. They neighbors, bro. Why is it that you can't have good neighbors? Always like bad neighbors. Like there's gotta be some vendetta. Most of the time it starts with like, you better keep your dog over there. That's one thing, cause them dogs be pooping everywhere. Hello. Hey, don't come over here. Don't let them kids throw the ball over here. That's always something, bro. No matter if you put a fence, there's some stuff going on, bro.
But for detectives, this could mean anything. Stanley would alternatively be the most suitable for Garrett to pin his crimes on, a neighbor with a god complex who had frequent conflicts with Lindell. Furthermore, Garrett has not given any details about his alibi. All we know is that during the night of the fire, he was at his aunt's house and was spending time with his niece. This is why detectives would not let up putting pressure on Garrett.
You're the only person that ain't even gave a scenario. And that kind of made me suspicious.
Scenario means.
Of anything that you might have heard or thought. You're the only one.
But I don't know nothing. I wasn't there.
I know you weren't there.
I hadn't been there in a couple of days.
You weren't there, but you're the only one.
All right, let's do it this way. The night of the fire, the night it happened.
I was at my niece's house.
What time did you get there?
I don't know what time we got there.
Was it light outside or was it dark?
I don't know. We was intoxicated, what can I say?
We was. Who were you with?
Me and my niece.
And what time did you leave there?
The next day, I think.
What time did the fire happen?
I don't know. Thomas told me.
That's a trick question, bro. You see how they're trying to get him slipping? What time did the fire happen? So he would say like 6:17 in the morning, like 3:45 in the morning. Bro, them investigators know what they doing, bro.
It was 3 o'clock in the morning, I don't know.
Let me ask you this question. Was you going to the funeral today?
Yes. Yes.
You know what time it is?
It's probably at 10 o'clock. That's what they say.
I'm going to say this. I'm just going to go on straight with you. But the gut feeling I got is that you have some names swirling in your head. You just don't want to give them because you don't want to give them.
I don't know them.
Right.
I don't know them people.
You might not know
socialize with them people.
We need your help. We're asking for your help.
I know. I understand that. I just don't really know much, man. But, man, they protected me when I was on the football field. I had to be tackled, and they made it happen for me. They say, we ain't gonna get tackled. Oh, my God. They was good guys.
For detectives, this was perplexing. A suspect that was willing to cry for his dead friend and housemate, yet had no solid story for where he was on that day, created a contradicting situation. No matter what, detectives cannot be certain that Garrett is the arsonist, so they would slowly push him towards a polygraph test, claiming it's the only way to prove his innocence.
But you know the polygraph test can't even be used, man. They just used to scare people because at the end of the day, those lie detectors be capping. So you can squeeze your butt cheeks hard and lie. You can lie in so many ways. And then they say, what is the percentage? It's a very low percentage of how truthful it even is. So the best use for it is to scare people, suspects, into thinking, oh, they're going to find the truth, so I'm going to deny it. I don't want it. You know, and get them to like, yeah, why you don't want it then? If you ain't got nothing to hide. That's the thing with this. If the truth will set you free. If you got nothing to hide, if you ain't do no crime, you know, why you gonna lie, right? Where you gonna? They on that snitches get stitches type of stuff. But if you know and that's your best friend, then you would just spit out the names. Man, it was this dude, bro. Bobby Johnny from the corner over there, man. Over there with the long nose. That's it.
So let's see if we can't get Sergeant Butler to come in and schedule a polygraph.
Okay.
I'll call you and schedule.
No, it's his schedule.
We got a polygraph
It's his
operator here.
schedule.
We're going to bring him in here and he's going to schedule with you. Set up an appointment.
Oh, my God. This is nuts.
You know?
I'm about to have a fucking heart attack from you, man.
Listen, man. We're trying to help here. We're not...
I know. I will. If I can help you, I will. I swear to God, I will.
We're not...
My man. Check that nose out, baby. Don't that nose look like that other nose that I say was a white boy nose? Look at that. Oh, snap.
I know I will. If I can help you, I will. I swear to God, I will.
Well, if you need
get something off your chest and let us know something that you know, you will feel a whole lot better. But you're our key to the information about who's
Why me? Why y'all putting it on me? I wasn't even
because you
there.
lived in the house for 2 years.
Yeah, but I was never there on this.
And you're saying that you don't know or have heard anything about any
I have not. I haven't been here long enough to hear
the
this.
car fire that happened in 2013 and you were in the house. You have no clue of who may have started.
You're saying nobody gave any names?
No.
They bring in other cases like from 2013. The house was burning, car was burning outside the house, and he had no idea what happened, and he was there.
Scenarios.
Somebody like to play with
No
fire.
theories. No nothing.
It's just not plausible, sir.
I mean, that just goes on in a normal conversation. Who do you think did this?
I don't know.
That's just part of a normal conversation.
Even though Garrett just agreed to the polygraph, just moments later,
I need
he
a
would
lawyer.
have second thoughts.
I need a lawyer.
Sergeant Butler, he's
I ain't doing something.
You're saying you want to take a polygraph?
Well, I'm taking a polygraph anyway.
You just said you would. You want to. You said, while we at it, let me take a polygraph.
I didn't say that. I said I
what
said
you said?
I said I would if I needed to.
What's coming down to a need?
Oh, really?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Go ahead and talk to the sergeant here. Go explain to me. Is this something that you'd be willing to do, is take a polygraph?
No, I changed my mind. That ain't working. Why?
Why he laughing, bro? He said, I changed my mind. Bro, let's say he's innocent, right? Like, he got nothing to do with this. The way he is as a person, and his nerves getting to him, and the laughter, and probably not even paying attention to life itself, bro, it's making him a suspect, bro. And they gonna treat him like one. They gonna treat him like a murderer.
Why is that working like that?
You volunteered
I
to
didn't
say
mean that. I said I might.
Usually, suspects are never legally obligated to undergo a polygraph test. Even if they did, these tests are not presentable in court due to a lack of accuracy and reliability,
Right.
since results are affected by several factors like anxiety and mental and physical health. And with
Facts.
Garrett's insistence that he is innocent and was not at Lindell's house often, detectives are stuck with no other suspects. Their only remaining choice was Stanley Ford, the self-proclaimed neighborhood guardian. But at this point, this was more of a gut feeling for detectives, as they could not put up a plausible case against him for an arrest. In their eyes, many suspects were just as suspicious as Stanley, if not more. This meant the Arkan arsonist was still on the loose, and maybe these investigations had scared him, because things seemed to settle down. For the entirety of 2016, there were no more fires, and most began to forget about the incident. However, this peace would soon,
That's the thing, bro. Y'all ever notice that something happened close to your house, and then within a few days, months, people just don't care no more, bro? People don't care unless it's somebody in their family members that actually die. Somebody they really care about, they know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like every person in this world is important. Every person in this world has a soul. So it's sad at any given age for somebody to lose their life, and more so if it's because of a serial killer or a tragic accident. I also feel bad for people who are in gang and they kill each other. But then again, what's the saying? Like, they know what life they chose, right? So they want the fast life and stuff like that. But then when innocent people are getting killed because of those things, it sucks, bro.
peace would soon come to an end. On January 23, 2017, someone set fire to a vehicle on 723 Russell Avenue, just a few blocks away from the first fire. The next 2 months would be another wave of silence from the arsonist until May 15, 2017, when close to 3 a.m., Lane Worcester neighborhood was given another rude awakening.
Multiple people are dead after a house fire in Akron this morning, and at least some were children.
The Akron Fire Department says the home was fully engulfed when they arrived. The heat was so high, a staircase melted away. Now, the exact number of victims has not been released.
A fire on 693 Fultz Avenue had resulted in the death of 7 people. 35-year-old Dennis Huggins and 38-year-old Angela Boggs, along with their 5 children, aged...
Bro, that's 7 people in that house, bro. 5 children, 2 adults. It was just a family, bro. They got set to flame. You know how dangerous it is? I'm just thinking about it now. You just home sleeping with your family. Like, you don't feel like you did anybody wrong or you owe anybody anything, and all of a sudden, while you sleeping, bro, somebody just set your house on fire just because they feel like it. And it's like, that's it. Like, how can you escape when you realize you probably suffocated with the smoke? Because that's the first thing they say. The smoke would just kill you. You know what I'm saying? You won't even notice that there was a fire. You would just suffocate. If you do wake up, then you got to deal with the flames, and there's no way to escape. There's got to be a way. There's got to be something you can put inside of a house, especially if you own a house, that's like fireproof for emergencies, bro.
Between 16 months and 14 years. This was the second major fire after the Lindell home was burned to a crisp 13 months prior. The fire had started in trash cans placed at the front of the house and spread quickly through the porch into the home. However, this was no accident. According to a forensic analysis, an accelerant identified as gasoline was dumped into the cans. The flames were intense and enveloped the house within seconds. There was no room for escape. And just like the first fire, all 7 victims were found huddled in corners of the home as they had been trapped by the smoke and flames.
Oh my God, bro. That's so horrible, man. They were all in the corner, bro, just waiting for the inevitable to happen, bro.
The bodies had been burnt so badly that the only way to identify them was through a DNA test. This was a tragedy, but compared to the first fire, finding the suspect this time wouldn't be hard, as there were only 2 options. The first was Patrick Boggs, who had a bit of history with Angela Boggs, the mother of the children in this fire. Patrick Boggs served 12 years in prison for dousing Angela in kerosene and threatening to set her on fire in 2001.
History. That's another thing. History, bro. Something from the past. When the past catches up.
He was a violent man and had even tried to stab someone, making him a very plausible suspect. But even with his past, Patrick was quickly discarded as cameras provided he had never left his home in Ohio. More importantly, an extensive polygraph test proved that Patrick was telling the truth about not being involved in this crime. However, his role in these murders wouldn't end here, as we'd later find out. For now, the only remaining suspect was a familiar face, one that was a common denominator in both fires, Stanley Ford. And this time, officers were prepared to gather a mountain of evidence against him.
They treat me like I'm a suspect, man. I'm not a suspect.
The first step was to obtain a search warrant for Stanley's home, which would result in a crucial piece of evidence being found. Worn-out tennis shoes that had been covered in an accelerant. An accelerant that just so happened to be gasoline. But the evidence wouldn't end here. One of the detectives would decide to have a one-on-one conversation with Stanley in his car, and what he says would be nothing short of disturbing.
No, listen what I'm saying to you, Stanley. This is so wrong, Stanley. Listen what I'm saying to you. Embarrassing to my name. Listen what I'm saying. You mentioned some things last night about there's some bad people at the house, or?
Well, to me, I thought they was bad kids. The stuff they was just doing immature stuff in the neighborhood.
Like what?
Shit, kicking vehicles, rear view mirrors, busting them out and stuff like that.
Is that a good way to get rid of somebody moving out the neighborhood and get rid of that?
No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do it like that. Why would I do that?
I wouldn't do it like that? What you mean you wouldn't do it like that, bro? Hold up.
I ain't gonna set somebody on fire just to get them out of the neighborhood. That ain't godly, like, man. That ain't human nature, like that.
Yeah, that's evil. That's pure evil, ain't it?
Man, I'm not evil, man.
Yet another instance of Stanley Ford justifying not only the deaths of the couple, but of their 5 innocent little children, too. Just like in the murder of Lindell Lewis, there was a pattern of pure hatred towards the victims. A pattern so disgusting that Stanley felt it was his.
Alright, man. Look, I know you ain't supposed to judge a book by its cover, right? But if you look at Stanley right now, look at him. He look like the type of person who'll tell you that he'll kill you for messing up, like throwing the ball over the fence to his house or ding dong dish with his door. Do you think he would tell you like, I'll kill you, little one, I'm gonna burn you, set you to fire, and then he actually proceed to do it? I don't know, bro. This is why I feel like people should stop being like tough and stop taking them serious pictures. Like, I used to take them serious pictures too. Thought I was the shitness, but they just be happy, bro. But that's something going on here, bro. You can't be hating every neighbor you have just because, bro.
God-given right to purge anyone who upset the...
Also, why not confirm what he's saying if it's true, right? Other neighbors should see the same thing he's seeing. Like, if the kids were bad and they were breaking side view mirrors and all that stuff, then that should be something that had to be reported to the cops several times already. Because I've been around bad kids, like when they ganged up together, and it's like, that's like 12 of them, but there's like only 6, you know what I'm saying? But they bad, bro. It feels like they double.
Guardian of the neighborhood. In this case, Stanley often accused the family of dealing drugs, damaging his property, and engaging in illegal activities, which only fueled his hatred towards them. Several neighbors had witnessed heated exchanges between the couple and Stanley leading up to the fire. Not only that, but the night of the fire, neighbors mentioned how they saw Stanley continuously patrolling the house. This would be corroborated by CCTV footage that would not only catch Stanley walking towards the house right before the fire, but also running away from it after. If
we got him. Come on, bro. You gonna be walking to the house, the CCTV sees you, and then you running away from it. Yo, check how he's running too. Check how he's
walking towards the house right before the fire, but also running away from it after. If all of this was not compelling enough, there would be one last piece of evidence that would solve the mystery of the Arkan arsonist. Take a look at this footage from the 2016 fire of Lindell's home. Now, matching this with the footage from the 2017 fire, and matching both with the footage from when police spoke with Stanley in the neighborhood, there is one correlation. The way the suspect walks is exactly the same as Stanley's stride.
I guess I was right when I said that boy was black. That boy was black. Everybody said that?
Without a doubt, Stanley was the one responsible for the cold-blooded murders of 9 people. Officers were now certain of this, and soon enough, Stanley was called in for an interview to be confronted with his sick crimes.
Come on, bro, don't do that.
I want to talk to you. I want you to be honest with me. Okay.
Which one is Stanley? Because they're both bald-headed, bro. They got that whooper head.
I've been honest. It's all about today in question. Let's go back to the fire.
Alright, that's Stanley over there.
I mean, what can you tell us about the fire? I don't have no knowledge of that. So,
if you guys didn't know, even putting the suspect in the corner like that, and the investigators, right, or the police officers sitting by the door, is also to put pressure on them. Like, this is strategy to everything they're doing, bro. Like, how they set up the room ain't no coincidence.
You know, sometimes I explain to them, you know, I exercise, some I get Charlie horses. Right. Sometimes I walk the street and back, you know what I mean? Something like that, but I didn't do that fire, man.
In the face of these denials, detectives decide that enough is enough. No matter what, they need a confession out of Stanley, and the best way to do that is to show him all the evidence that points towards him being the arsonist.
As you running back to the house, at the time of the fire, okay? Right. We got you running to the house. You're not asleep. You weren't. You're on the camera, Stanley. I want no camera running from the fire.
Yeah, Stanley.
You're on the camera running from a fire? We got you. I ain't running from no fire. Stanley, listen. Yeah. It's time to come. It's time to man, listen. Stanley, yeah.
Listen to your twin.
We know the answers, okay?
Right.
Okay. But I wasn't running from no fire. Okay, you walk. You see the fire, okay? You're at the fire. No. I'm not at no fire. You're at the fire. I'm at a fire? Yeah, you're at the fire. Stay there. Go ahead. We need to hear your side of the story. Johnny, I'm being honest, man. I didn't do anything. I mean, I can't look at somebody and do what I want to do. They did that. I got too much to lose, man.
And then he had that kerosene on his shoes too, or that igniting fluid. on his sneakers? Where he was he was grilling out there?
All the pieces, we know the answers. This is what we want to know. Is there some reasoning or some kind of something that happened, man? Did somebody piss you off or somebody do something? No. So maybe why, maybe like I said, maybe trying to send a message.
I'm allowed to walk the neighborhood. I wasn't at nobody's house. I'm walking.
Explain why you running back from the house.
I didn't do that. Oh yeah, I'm telling you, I got it wrong.
Well, you know you go. Okay, we got you. We got you.
Often a suspect will refute their crimes even in the presence of concrete evidence, as this would still give them a fighting chance in court. In this case, Stanley is doing exactly this, and no matter what detectives say, he won't be cracking anytime soon.
Y'all believe that I did it?
No, we proved that you.
Oh, he being
I didn't do that. I wouldn't have dared to did that, man.
Well, do you want me to explain your charges to you, or do you want
to explain them? I didn't do it. I'm serious. I didn't do it. I'm not going to admit to that. I didn't do it. If I did, I admit to it. I didn't do that.
Let me explain your charges.
Go ahead.
Okay. You have 7 counts of aggravated murder.
However, this would be far from the end of Stanley's saga. Because he never admitted to anything and had a history of being mentally unstable, there was a chance that he could get away completely scot-free in court due to his mental status being absolved of all his crimes. 62-year-old Stanley Ford's trial would begin on Monday, August 30th, with the prosecutor...
My boy let his hair grow and everything, so years later... That's when it started?
Michael D'Angelo making his opening statements that focused on correlating the masked arsonist with Stanley Ford.
That timeline, his statements, and the similarities of his actions show his opportunity. And ladies and gentlemen, the evidence, all of that will reveal his identity. And that will show you that when the defendant gets angry with his neighbors, he sets their property on fire and he kills them.
This dude right here is the main suspect, bro. Look at that nose. I'm just playing, bro.
And at the conclusion of this case, Mr. LaPrinzi and I are going to ask you to find the defendant guilty of all the charges and all of the specifications.
Stanley's defense, on the other hand, knew the kind of uphill battle that they were facing and decided that the best approach would be not to prove Stanley's innocence, but to disprove the suspicions of his identity.
A lot of the evidence that you're going to be presented to is not a dispute. It's not a dispute that there were 3 fires set. It's not a dispute that all 3 fires were set intentionally. And it certainly is not a dispute that there were 9 deaths. The coroner, the medical examiner is going to come in, talk to you about the homicides that she ruled, and then the cause and the manner.
Did they ever say who owned that car that was set ablaze? Because that's the only one, out of the 3 fires, that's the only one that didn't like kill anybody.
All 9 of those deaths. Those facts are not in dispute. But again, as defense, we told you, and you know that the state of Ohio has the burden of proof to prove each and every element. Defense has the burden to prove nothing.
On the surface, this might seem like an open and shut case, but Stanley's defense has planned for these hearings thoroughly and knew exactly who to blame, because there was one person who could turn the tides in Stanley's favor: Patrick Boggs, the same man who was the initial suspect for the second fire. When Patrick was arrested, the most conclusive evidence to dispel suspicions was his polygraph tests, but these tests are not admissible in court. This meant that when lead detective Troy Looney was called to the stand, he could do nothing but watch as the defense twisted this case.
You knew during the course of your investigation in 2001 that Patrick Boggs tried to set Angela Boggs on fire, correct?
Correct.
Also beat her up, correct?
Correct.
He believed she was cheating on him with a black man, correct?
Correct.
That piqued your interest in this case too because of who Angela Boggs was now dating, fair?
That's correct.
This line of questioning puts the prosecution in a tough spot, as Detective Troy could...
Bro, now they're trying to bring the other dude, Angela Boggs' ex-husband, whoever he was, that tried to set her on fire and was like threatening her and stuff like that. Like part of the case again. So now it's creating 2 suspects versus just the one. We still think it's Stanley, though.
Not immediately dispel the doubts of Patrick being the suspect using the results of the polygraph test. However, the defense would not lose momentum on this win. They would play their final trump card, bringing in Patrick Boggs himself as a witness.
And at this time, do you choose to testify?
I choose fifth, plead the fifth, and not testify at all.
So you're choosing to invoke your Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
With him pleading the fifth, the defense's case became much stronger because for the jury, a suspect refusing to answer questions meant that he did not want to incriminate himself in a crime that he may have been involved in.
Oh, bro, these people know what they doing, bro. They probably bought into it. Oh, snap.
Shifting some of the blame off of Stanley. Fortunately, there was one silver lining. A major step of the defense's plan was to use Stanley's extreme beliefs to drive the case towards an evaluation of his mental health. Unluckily for them, if Stanley didn't hesitate to murder 9 people, he wouldn't hesitate to fight his own defense team and admit in front of the jury that he had no mental issues.
I didn't commit a crime to be pretty dealing with all these competence of these different psychologists and psychiatrists and stuff. Does that make any sense, you know?
But I gotta tell you, it's incumbent upon you to cooperate with Dr. Karpowicz.
I'm not saying a doctor, Your Honor. I'm done with it. I'm not saying no more doctor.
At this point, the only thing left to do was for the jury to come to a decision. However, even with every single one of the defense's attempts to save Stanley, the decision would come out to be in favor of the prosecution due to the overwhelming evidence they had. The similar walks of the suspect, recordings of Stanley expressing his hate towards his neighbors, and Stanley running back to his home after the second fire.
One verdict, one aggravated murder regarding Angela Boggs. We, the jury, being duly paneled and sworn and affirmed to well and truly try and do deliverance make between the state of Ohio and the defendant Stanley O. Ford, do find the defendant guilty of the offense of aggravated murder, a charge in the indictment on or about the 15th day of May 2017.
But even though he was found guilty of the fires, jurors were yet to conclude their decision about Stanley's punishment. This is when the defense decided to move forward with Plan B, do anything to save Stanley from the death penalty. There were a total of 12 jurors, and a unanimous vote was needed to give Stanley the death penalty. Even if one of them disagreed, he would be given a life sentence instead. And on the 12th day of his trial, only 11 of the 12 would vote in favor of the death penalty. The defense was successful in their attempts to save him, as just one juror disagreed, feeling that he should only be given life.
You know, there's a chance that that one juror, I ain't gonna say he got like bought out, but it could be because of the religious belief, bro. You gotta understand that at some point in religious belief, depending on what religion you have, nobody should kill anybody. You know what I'm saying? Dogs should not kill nobody, bro. So again, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people believe that, at least 1 in every 12 believe that.
In jail. But even his life sentence would not be kind to him, because for every single year of his life, he would be reminded of his sick and disgusting crimes. Stanley Ford would receive 9 consecutive life sentences for every single one of his victims, without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 21 years. And to be reminded of his crimes, for every single date of the fire and for every single birthday of the 5 children he murdered, Stanley would be given solitary confinement, a punishment that he will have to endure for the rest of his life.
DeAndre. Okay, look. Oh, this is pretty much over. Yo, for every year, bro. So every year, every time there's a birthday of the deceases, he's gonna be in confinement. They're gonna punish him like that. Now, this is my problem right now, because I feel like there's nothing left. Let me see. There's nothing left, bro. That was everything. Let's put something there. You know what I'm saying? This is the messed up part, bro. Because now I'm curious about this Boggs dude, right? Her ex-husband. He ain't say nothing. He plead the fifth. he's not trying to talk. He's not trying to incriminate himself in any way or shape or form, or just overall speak out, right? Because obviously the case is they trying to bring the case from way back, right? And he went to jail for I don't know how long, 12 years I think they said. But it does make you question, right? The fact that they leave things a little bit like, bro, what else happened? I feel this is not everything. You're going to tell me that this dude's going to go for life and he going to rot in prison. And he's not going to tell his cellmate. He's not going to he's not going to say anything, right? I feel like at some point, maybe a year or two passes by and then they go, hey, you want to confess something? You know, if you confess to the crimes that you did out of your voice, I might be able to knock out a few life sentences, you know what I'm saying? Give you a chance of parole. Or something like that, you know what I'm saying? But in this case, it seemed like they just gonna put him away. Boom, here, that's justice, and that's that, bro. There's no other family members. There's no aunties. There's no nothing. I don't know, bro. Is it just me who's not like satisfied with the judgment in certain cases where it feels like there was too many gaps that weren't filled? Even the evidence seems a little bit like, they said basically because they saw him walking over there and then running back. And then you can see kind of like the flame, right? Because they kind of know like what time or so the flame started. You could kind of see that it's like light up, like there's some flame going on behind him. It does make it suspicious, and all fingers point to Stanley. But I feel, this is my opinion again, right? That Boz could have talked to Stanley and said, hey man, I need you to take care of this, bro, because this girl wasn't faithful with me. And that's the same black dude. And I knew it. And now she's being with this black dude. And she had 5 children with this black dude. Yada, 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 yada. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I'll pay you this much, bro. Or just because dude was mentally ill, he's like, bro, I'll get rid of them because I disliked them. You know what I'm saying? I disliked them because they're over here knocking outside your mirrors. Those people are nasty. That's his own words. That's what he was saying. Stanley was crazy with that. You can't be talking like that about your neighbors, bro. Either way, bro, let me know what you guys think in the comment below and how you guys feel about this case. Was that a fair trial? Was that a fair consequence? Judgment? And do you feel like good with how everything was handled? Do you feel like we needed to investigate some more and get more evidence and dig deeper? Because I feel there was other neighbors, man. They had to do a better talk. The investigators were not, I don't feel like they were on point, or at least they're not giving all the information they probably could. That's just me, you know what I'm saying? But either way, I enjoyed it. Thank you guys for stopping by here and enjoy this serial killer, basically, bro, because 9 people, bro, within, what was that, months? Is wild, bro. And there's no telling how much more times he even did that. That's the other thing. Like, he did that all around his block right there. Like, not so far away. Imagine the other things he probably did that we don't even know about. Like, that boy had a problem with fire. So, either way, man. Love you guys. Appreciate the support. Until next time. Yeah!
Let's piece these clues together. A suspect fleeing and matches nearby. Burning this reveals the prime suspect.